Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I was told yesterday to ask folks in the beginning for the next couple of days, can you hear me? For those of you that watched yesterday at 2 p.m. for the first few minutes, I had the mute button on. For some reason, that just happens like 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year. But good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, August 21st, and you are here in the Java Cafe. My name is James Jimmy Hills, and I'm the host. And little bit tired because I went to convocation last night and heard Bishop and Sister Obama. The Democratic Convention, and heard Michelle Obama and Barack speak last night. And I have a guest, so I can't get into as much commentary, but do me a favor this morning and share this live and invite someone to be a part of the conversation. Welcome them into the Java Cafe this morning. We're going to speak about community development. We're going to hear the story I've been mentioning since last week that Jazmyne is coming to speak with us. And so as we bring her on, welcome her in. Excuse me, I'm really because I was screaming and stuff last night at the TV in here by myself. So trying to keep my voice together, but we're going to bring Jazmyne in and welcome her into the Java Cafe, invite others to come in and be a part of the conversation with us this morning. So Jazmyne, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm just a little bit tired and a little excited and have a little bit of hope and change in my spirit. And I'm encouraged to do something.
Absolutely.
As Michelle said last night. So I'm glad to have you here. Please say good morning to the folks, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there about your journey and just your approach and vision toward community development, what community is, and some of the ills that may fight us, as well as maybe some ways that we can stay committed to community, especially in the next 76, 77 days. But I'm not going to be political this morning. Go ahead and say good morning to the people. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jazmyne McNeese. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California, moved to New Jersey because I was trying to save the world. I have an organizing background, and I'm now doing real estate and data analysis for a mapping company. So I'm really, really excited to be with you all today and just to kind of share my knowledge and share with the community, because I believe in what this platform is doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Tell us about your journey. How did you land in this space? Shout out to you being from California. If I could just deviate for a minute. Did you see when they played Kendrick Lamar and Dr.
I sure did. I was screaming from over here. I was screaming from the other side of the country. Yeah.
So it was kind of lit there. But, you started out in California. You're in New Jersey now?
Yes, I'm in New Jersey.
And you're in real estate and you have your PhD. And so kind of take us on this journey with you, how you landed here and taking this sort of data-driven approach to real estate, community development. I was just mentioning to my guest yesterday that the ability to, it's an organization that helps folks be involved with community service, and they help them, be aware of and increase their credit score, which is a influence on housing, getting a mortgage. And we understand that owning a home helps decrease the wealth gap. And so there's definitely a correlation here between proven data and things like that. But I want to hear your journey and how you landed in this space. I'm going to go in the background and tag a couple of people like Alex Edwards from Thumbprint Realty that if you're not aware of, you need to look them up. Mortgage Before Marriage. that brother is doing it. So go ahead and tell us a little bit of your journey.
Absolutely. I always tell this story from different vantage points. But the one I'm going to start with today is I was sitting in class. They were talking about the racial wealth gap, and the conversation just kept saying that like people of color are just like lazy, not doing what they need to do. We were reading things like the Moynihan Report. If you don't know who that is, you should definitely look him up. And I just couldn't understand for the life of me why there was a disconnect between people of color and money. And that kind of sent me on this journey to where we are now. From that having that kind of like back and forth moment, I decided that I wanted to study wealth. I wanted to study race, wealth, and business ownership. And what I did at that point was I was actually doing a lot of community organizing on campus, advocating for workers' rights, immigrants' rights. We were collaborating with a lot of organizations on campus. And I actually went to school undergrad to be a dance major. And realized that actually I thought I was going to Oakland. Like that was my vision. Like that's how I actually auditioned to get into UC Irvine. Absolutely. Through modern dance. And so and that's one of the reasons why I got accepted. So I was really, really excited about that. But that shifted, right? So I started to go to class and hear these things. I started to be in my dance classes and, we're caking our shoes and trying to, put stuff on it to make it, make our lines pretty, right? Because our tights were pink, but we needed brown tights, right? Because we have brown skin. And so there was a lot of questions that I started to have about kind of like questions about the world that I didn't necessarily get engaged with when I was younger. And so through these experiences, I decided that it was important that I study public policy. We were advocating on campus for one of our dance teachers. That dance teacher, he was going to lose his endowment, and I started advocating for that. It didn't necessarily help me on the graduation trail, so I decided to switch my major to public policy. And that public policy degree, I decided to get my master's, and that brought me to New Jersey. Through that experience.
I'm intrigued. And I got to be honest, the audience likes these sort of progressive, chronological, just how you got this. So keep going.
That's the only way I can tell it, just because I don't think people would. I mean, honestly, when I tell a story, like, why did you come to New Jersey? Everyone always asks me that while I'm here. Like, why would you leave California and come here? And I really think it was a purpose. I literally came to New Jersey because I wanted to help people, because I was passionate about the public policy field and about changing the landscape of people that were growing up in the same environments I was. And I was really passionate about that. And when I came to New Jersey, I actually attended Rutgers University, and one of my tour guides was like, if you want to, do a public policy work, New Jersey is the place because we have a lot of problems. So if you want to be a problem solver, this is where you need
you could have came up here to Chan School of Public Health. You could have go ahead, keep going. Sorry, no shame.
If you would have got to me first, I'm pretty sure I would have came. I really was like at a moment in time where I was like, I just have to do something. And so I decided to go ahead and attend Blaustein. I started doing work in public policy. I worked for New Jersey Policy Perspective, New Jersey Community Capital. I worked for the Department of Community Affairs with the state. So I've been in these organizations that are making decisions about how we live our lives every day. And that's really what got me to where I am now.
Can I ask one quick question? How many people in those spaces looked like you?
12?
I'm mad you had a number and had an answer, because I just, in those type of responses, not that many, it was just me, 12, but give us some context there out of a ratio of how many? What was the ratio?
I mean, so it depends. I'm aggregating all the organizations, but it depends on, so this is the other question I have. At what position in leadership?
You gonna ask me?
Yeah. Because what I'm starting to find, like my experiences, it was a lot of, Black and brown people there, but they weren't in positions of leadership.
And I mean, that makes a huge difference, because, oh Jesus, I'm gonna get in trouble. The pandering of that whole DEI movement a few years ago, where we now understand that 65% of the funds and the positions and leadership are no longer in existence. Yeah. And so when you just said that about, being in spaces and wanting to be in a space to influence policy, which is, you're going to have to correlate. I'll shut up in a minute. Correlate the policy piece with the data-driven real estate to get us to the point of community development.
I'm here with you.
Let's go.
And also, I mean, no, I appreciate the questions because like I do my experience so people can have like a point of view of like, what is she talking about? Like, I didn't even know these things existed. Yes, there are community development organizations that live exactly where you are that are literally funded in order to fill in your gaps. They are funded and hired to do the job of supporting you as an individual living in whatever neighborhood you live in, as long as it's within their area of interest.
And they get that money from the federal government, from the community development block grant.
Absolutely. Exactly. Like, there are people that are hired to do this thing. And so the fact, and it always boggles me because I'm with these organizations who are doing the work, and then I'm looking in the community and I'm not seeing the translation, right? Like, sometimes and some of it is like on an organization to organization basis, right? Yeah. Leadership is very important, right? Having an organization that knows what they're doing is very important. And I have to say that the organizations that I've worked with, I have seen some actual impact and outcomes from the work that they've been doing. But I think that piece of that fabric, I think, is missing from a lot of the conversations, even politically, about like what that mesh is. Like, we're talking about state, we're talking about local policy, we're talking about federal policy, but there's a little bit of a bridge right there, right between your neighborhood and the pocket of funding that the banks are supposed to give communities that are still developing. So that they can be able to achieve some of the same successes. And I think that fabric is missing. That conversation is missing. I don't know anyone who knows their local alderman. I don't know anyone who knows their local economic development coordinator. I don't know, you know what I mean? And so those are some of the conversations, or anyone who has gone to a zoning board meeting, right? And those are some of the things I do as a real estate professional. And it's just interesting to see that, you know, some of those pieces are missing from our larger conversation.
It's interesting here because Boston is, you know, a very interesting place in itself. But I will say that there's always a canyon for improvement, not a room, a canyon for improvement. But I do find here that we are engaged with here we have city councilors that represent 13 different districts, 9 districts, and then 4 at-large seats for the city. Folks are pretty much engaged there. But when you talk about like zoning meetings and whatnot, that some of the stuff I see from folks on Twitter and whatnot, folks are engaged around. We have a whole liquor license equity movement that's going on uniquely here. A lot of our ordinances that they can't pass them significant ones at a city level because a lot of that power was passed to the state. I won't get into that, but
I understand.
Yeah. Help us get into, you know, your PhD is in public affairs.
Yeah, public affairs and community development. Yep.
Okay. So you got to Jersey, you're working in these organizations. Was it looking at the data that made you drive into being this data-driven person when it comes to real estate? What intrigued you about the data, and then what are the data trends?
Yeah,
that you're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. I took a course called Economics of Poverty with Professor Henry Coleman at Rutgers University, and that man changed my life. Black economics professor, right? Who's like, what? I'm blessed to even be in a space like that, right?
Yeah.
Like that, right? And so I don't take that for granted at all. He's actually one of the primary people that told me, like, Jazmyne, if you're interested in getting a PhD, you need to do it, and you need to do it now, right? Because we don't know what the future holds. And this is something that you absolutely can do, right? Having that encouragement. And also saying that, you know, he understands how life works. And sometimes when lives, you can only do, you know, what you're restricted to. And at that point in time, I didn't have any restrictions. And so it was really important for me to just go ahead and tackle that opportunity while it was in my lap. And so that was actually one of the reasons why I got my PhD, was his encouragement. And one of the things that there's so many data points when I'm thinking about this. There were so many things. I think one of the biggest ones is how we even quantify poverty. Like the equation for how we calculate poverty in America is so old. I mean, at this point, I don't even understand how the fact that we're still giving folks even who are on economic assistance, we're still giving them wages based off of that calculation. To me, is incredible. Like, it is actually insane.
And intentional, but go ahead. Sorry.
Right. And intentional, right. Like, I definitely don't want to misspeak there. I definitely think that it's actually insane, and the fact that our people are still making it work with the little that they are being given, to me, is amazing, and it's a testament to how good we are actually with resources, right? Which counteracts and contradicts the knowledge and information that I was getting when I was in school. And so I'm starting to understand that our experience of money, our experience of the world, is very different than what I'm reading about. And some of that was because some of us weren't writing. Right. And some of the we weren't in those conversations. I didn't see anyone.
Can I interject? We were writing. We weren't.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
I know where you are, but yep.
We are writing, but the books that I'm being given don't have our names on them. Right. And so I'm creating my own syllabus. I'm going to go find where we are in these conversations. And that was actually the impetus for me getting a PhD. It was really important to me to both have professors of color on my PhD committee. It was important to me to write about Black stories and communities. It was also important for me to share stories about how we have handled money in the past historically, and how that has actually driven us to where we are now. If you know Jessica Gordon Nimhard and her work about Black cooperative economics, she wrote a book about Black cooperatives, which actually chronologically channels actually crystallizes and describes what Black people were doing as organizers in the past, and how that has developed into what we know now today as credit unions.
I was going to say Black Wall Street, but
absolutely. And that
you mean the concept of the Federal Credit Union comes from Black folks?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so that knowledge, just having that little nugget, I was like, hold on, now I have something tangible, right? I had a professor that actually put this book in my hand and said, if this is what you're interested in, you need to read this book, right? So we are writing. Don't get me wrong. We are writing. Yep. I just had to go find us. I had to go find us.
And it's so interesting because it was the first second gentleman last night, and also Steve Kerrigan, our local Democratic committee leader, that talked about the Democratic committee leader, stated we were the first library that doesn't ban books. I think Doug Emhoff or someone talked about the fact of education and how important it is. And so generally, there's a fight to limit the information that is published that's out there. And then we still have, unfortunately, folks were writing, as you said, but they weren't getting published. And so you had to put that extra work into getting that information. Okay, so public affairs, communications, and then data. Before I go too deep, you referenced that, and forgive me because I love to refer to our Black and brown folks and women, especially Dr. McNeese. Let me say that. Dr. McNeese, give us, I'm going to ask you to try to do this. Give us a 30-second synopsis of your thesis statement.
Okay. Oh, no, he did it. He put me on the spot, y'all. He put me on the spot.
I said 30. We'll probably end up with 90. But you're good.
I can do this. I definitely can do this. My work is called Two Americas, the Black Perspective on Racial Capitalism. And what I wrote about was the different experiences that Black people can have as business owners that's separate from how white people experience business ownership. I really wanted to highlight the fact that there was a lot of extra work that Black organizations and business owners were doing after 2020, after the pandemic, that wasn't being accounted for, that could be funded by some of the funds that are coming from these CDBG grants and things of that sort, and these nonprofit organizations, right? Some of our business owners were doing nonprofit work in their restaurants and weren't being accounted for. And that was the impetus of my research. It was a mixed method study. I did both quantitative and qualitative research that gets me to that data piece, right? And I spent some time with these organizations and with these business owners talking about their stories. How did they get to where they are now, and how they're dealing and faring with the changes after 2020. And that was the impetus of my research.
You did well. You did well. And so if I could ask you to just state clearly, and you touched on it a little bit, but I'll frame it like this. What was, first of all, the title? You said Two Americas, but the subtitle was, go ahead and show the book. Hold on. Let me get it. We gotta get to it so we can do it right. So Anissa, check this out.
Yes, it's right here. It's right here. This is the book.
First of all, proud of you for doing that and making that happen. Let's get that screenshot. No. Put it back so we can get the whole video. No, in all seriousness, your subtitle was Black Capitalism.
Yeah, so two Americans.
So some people may get me, and you understand the context of this question. Mm-hmm. Our familiarity and experience with capitalism in this country leads me to ask this question through a lens of it may be a little oxymoronic.
Yeah.
Black capitalism.
Racial capitalism. So it's a mixed approach to
it. Okay. That I misheard you because I was like, okay, now she's good, but she's gonna have to bridge that. So racial capitalism.
But it does touch on those things, and I think I think you're touching on two things. One is that the idea of the book was to examine racial capitalism. What does that look like? How are we still being subjected to free labor in ways that we don't necessarily understand or calculate, right?
Or get paid for.
Exactly. And that was actually one of the findings of my research. There's a lot of things that we do that we don't get paid for that we should, right? That was pretty much the impetus of that. The other side of that is the fact that we receive over 40% less than that of a white business owner for doing the same amount of work in the same environment, in the same area, given the same circumstances, right? And that is quantitatively factual. And we can check my research. It's available publicly. You can definitely read my work. Absolutely. And so those were the two things that I was struggling with. How do we get compensated for this extra work that we do? And then how do we communicate the fact that we're still experiencing the same thing, which is business ownership? I studied restaurants both in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And how are we experiencing the same thing, even across these state borders, differently? Why are we getting treated differently, even though we're doing some of the similar work? Well, actually, we're not doing similar work. We're doing more work. And that's not being accounted for or paid for or accommodated in any way. And so those were some of the things that I was finding in my work. It's the reason why I decided to go ahead and do this research at all. And it's one of the reasons why I think my economics professor was like, no, Jazmyne, I think this is something you should do, because I was really, really passionate about wealth in the community and how to build it and how do we keep it? Not just how we build it, but how do we keep it, right? Because there's holes in the boat. And these are some of the holes that I found.
Let me ask you, in talking about holes, what was your most surprising finding in your data and research on the thing that you didn't expect, on the thing that was like, that we're doing it, but what was that one thing that put the nail in the coffin in your research where you found that Black America, there's either upcoming trend or something in that data that made you go, oh, in a good way.
Oh, okay. Yes. Two things. One is that we are very resilient. That was one of the outcomes of my research. Black people are resilient.
Can I just chime in?
I actually quoted this in academic research that I called it embedded resilience. We have a resilience that no one can touch, that no one can tackle, that just keeps a fire in our ability to kind of see past struggle in a way that I don't think anyone else can. And I just had to document that. And I wanted that to be in the literature. I wanted that to be referenced in somebody's research article versus, all the other rhetoric that wasn't necessarily too good.
I wanted to just ask about the resilience piece because I struggle, and I understand the spirit of that statement versus the letter of it. Mm-hmm. But the way we stay resilient and become resilient is because of a lot of the byproducts or impact of the things to which you speak. Mm-hmm. And so again, you're helping me right now in real time with this.
Yeah.
We've taken how we become resilient is wrong.
Yeah.
And I guess we as a people,
mm-hmm.
we've taken the power back and we now present that as a strength.
Yeah.
Rather than a weakness. I guess I would say, and I'm getting this revelation in real time, mm-hmm. that the thing that keeps us focused is we always keep in the back of our mind, as Michelle D. Smith said, and she has a question about where she can find your publication. Mm-hmm. Love the phrase too, embedded resilience. It is embedded in us. Mm-hmm. but I'm afraid that if we don't keep focused on things that will get us to a point where a generation from now, that word isn't used in reference to us because we don't have to be. I think that's where we have to be resilient, because so it's always I hate the T word, it trigger. But it's a word that puts me in a space to where you see that I am now. And so, the resilience was one of the things, but come on, Dr. McNeese, that wasn't too surprising to you. I want that, that moment where you was like, because we're resilient, you know what I mean? And so what was that thing that just made you go, ooh, or go back to your professor and be like, yo, did you know that? What was that?
I think it was, I don't want to limit.
If it was the resilience, then that's fine.
I think, and no, I hear you on both ends. And I think there will be more that comes up during our conversation. But I do think that I don't want to limit the fact that I don't want to minimize our greatness just to survival, right? Because we have to survive. Everyone has to survive. Right? There is a little bit of that. There are folks that are in third world countries that are the level of survivor looks different for everyone, right? And I think I don't want to disregard that. And I don't think that because we have had to survive that minimizes our ability to be resilient in that, and for that resilience to still look like greatness, and for that resilience to still feel rewarding in a way that is not necessarily combined to like your labor and your ability to kind of exhaust all your options and deal with the environment you live in and go through the struggles that you're going through. I don't think it has to be tied to that. I find freedom in the ability for our people to also just be okay it's okay for us to be great, right? It's okay for us. It's okay for Simone Biles to be Simone Biles. It's okay for her to also have meet with her therapist and then go ahead and do a couple backflips and win a gold medal, right? Like that's okay. And I don't think we're used to that, right? We're not just used to being able to just succeed without having to struggle. And I understand that, Ty. And I don't think I'm definitely not the one to kind of like speak for all Black people when I say that. But I also just find a little bit of freedom. And I think that's the reason why what brought me to this work is that I find a little bit of freedom in knowing that both in the past, right, because of Jessica Gordon Imhart's work, we have always been resilient, even under circumstances. We didn't have technology. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have formal banking systems. Even before we had formal banking systems, Black people were sharing their money, right? They were putting stuff under their mattress. That's where we get it from, right? We keep it in bags, right? We all of those
in
things
the freezer
are important, right? And I think those are the pieces of the stories that get lost, that we don't tell, that kind of connect our past to our future in a way that makes it so that everything we do doesn't have to feel like a struggle, because it is embedded in history, right? Not just survival.
I want to share with you, and shout out to the folks that are listening on Twitter and Instagram as well. Sika, if I'm pronouncing it right, on Instagram said, in reference to our conversation about resilience, she said, we are supposed to be strong, never give up. Resilience is only inevitable. And so I appreciate you, because when you talk about the freedom of it, you just kind of help set me free a little bit, because that when I realized one day my experience had caused me to view the term and the context around resilience in a manner that's like, I don't want to be resilient, because I gotta be, and what got me to be resilient was all the crap I've been through. But in sort of, and I think Rob and Asia were in here talking about it, basically taking the bricks that are thrown at us and build a house. Rob said throw the bricks back, but somewhere between building the house, every once in a while you gotta well, who was it, Nehemiah in the Bible? They had a tool in one hand and in the other.
Hello,
you better come on here. All right, so listen, we're going to take a break and come back, because I want to ask you some of the questions that are outlined here. Everybody knows I go off and go organic based on your answers, but I need some work into this briefing, so we're going to make sure we utilize it. But I am just really encouraged, and so are the people in the audience that really are enjoying this statement. Michelle D. Smith, who moves in entrepreneurial space and coaching and whatnot, racial capitalism. Definitely. She's saying, and this was the question she asked. So before we go to break, is there a link or somewhere where this is available online where folks?
Google
Okay.
Scholar, you can research Two Americas, or you can just search in my name and my articles will pop up from there, and it's free.
The full articles are available on Google?
For Google Scholar, yes.
I'll be honest, I am not an avid reader, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, I want to go through this and like, because listen, this is why we have these conversations and bring people into this space. One, to let folks know that we have beautiful, smart, doctorate level, wonderful queens that are embedded in community and moving. All right. So Michelle, you can Google Two Americas, racial capitalism, and I'm sure that'll get you to the link, or you can they want to do me a favor. Put the link in the private chat to your right.
Sure will.
Brother Obi said, just drop the Obi, see is messing with you. She said Google is your friend. Let's just make it easy so we can put it. It's a resource, and I often put the links to the resources right there so folks can click and get right to them. So let's do the same for you. Absolutely.
Here you go. Dropping it in the chat.
Thank you. I'm in there waiting. All right. Oh, cool. This is a long one. Hold on. This is okay. All right. I'm going to put her link right in the comments, everyone. And so you can go click that link real quick during the break. Go get it in your other browser. And then come back after the break and listen to the rest of this conversation as we hear more from Dr. McNeese. And I'm starting to get tired, and that's always an indicator. No, that's an indicator that this is a good interview, because the exchange. It's the virtue.
I'm gonna give you all my energy.
Yes. We'll be right back with you guys in just a couple of seconds. So Dr. McNeese, I'm looking over on on Instagram, and Sika, who I thought you knew, and I always get thrown off with the IG names and who they actually are. But there's a young lady, if you write down SEEKCKA, or Sika, you can inbox her. There's a business up here called now, only because you're not from here, I'm going to put this. It's called Diddy Burger.
Okay.
Diddy Burger was out before all the other stuff.
It's all good.
And this is a brand that is first of all their burgers are ridiculous. Salmon, lamb, beef. But he's been doing the series of give backs to community. And I there's a philosophy that he and Manny and everybody got to eat has around food equity and culture and whatnot. And so I would love either you all, connect via DM, or Sika, you DM me your email and I'll get you all connected. But I am really just excited to have Dr. McNeese with us if you're just joining us today. And we're basically talking about, I'm going to put it simply, cooperative economics, from a manner that she has taken her data and research, her PhD in community affairs and public affairs rather, and community development from Rutgers of all places. And so with that, we heard a little bit of it, but how has your academic training, that transition from your life experience through the lens of academics, how did you do it? Because you lived it. You're sitting there hearing the academics, and it's like, that data set does. I didn't live that. How did you handle that?
Therapy. I think I definitely throughout college I did actually end up getting a therapist for sure, especially during my PhD.
I have a saying: ignorance is bliss, But
Yeah.
awareness is stressful
Hello.
AF. And I'll just leave it like that. Because when you become aware and woke,
The Fire Next Time, James Baldwin. If you haven't read the book, read it. I think that's just it embodies pretty much all of it. My professor from undergrad told me when I got to graduate school, you're going to need a puppy and a therapist in order to get through this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take your advice. I'm just going to go with it. And at that time, it was really, really hard just because of there was an article that came out that was saying that PhD students were like getting, succumbing to anxiety at really high rates and high levels and were graduating. And so there was actually a lot of fear surrounding me actually doing, the PhD and going through that process. I think the context of academia showed me that there are a lot of people talking about things that they don't necessarily understand. It taught me that it's really important for us to be in spaces, to speak our own lived experiences and culture into conversations and into literature, so that other people that come after us are going to go ahead and be able to read and pick up from where we left off. I felt that I needed to be a part of that cycle. Yep. To kind of help and elevate that way. Because as you heard from my experience, like that was really important to me, both mentorship and the folks who were in my ear at the time, at the same time that I was able to find little nuggets of information based off of my intuition and finding that in literature and saying like, no, this thing is real. This thing that I'm feeling is actually real. This is research. It's history. It's fact. And being able to say that was really important. And I think academia had a lot to do with that. I also just learned that you are going to have to fight. It is not easy. I do recommend to anyone who is in academia or trying to get a degree or thinking about going back to school, do it. You can do it. It is absolutely your destiny as much as it is anybody else's. Is it easy? No, but there are resources and people all around, including myself, who can help support you through that journey. Because for me, I just feel like having resources and having community, I wouldn't have been able to do it without it. I moved all the way from California to New Jersey to pursue this on my own. Knew no one who I lived here. So community was a really big reason why I was able to get through all of it.
It is amazing. I'm sitting here. I got to get the link back, but Pauline, I'm so glad your name popped up here. I was like, there was something I was supposed to do. I remember now. I was getting ready to text the link to our chief of economic development here in the city of Boston, who is, just really making great. You talk about data. He put out his infographics the other day about, what's happened. I do some research on Segun Idowu, Segun. Mm-hmm. It's going to kill me. What is she? Idowu, IDW. I'll get you the name. Thank you, Obi. IDOWU. I would love to connect y'all. Also, this young lady by the name of Sheena Collier that runs an organization here called Boston While Black. Mm-hmm. And I know that they would love to either get you on a Zoom or come. We used to do the Boston While Black Summit. There's Alex Edwards that I did get him the link, and I hope he's watching. I did text him and say she's lit because he does the Black Wealth Summit. I believe this because you have the academia, but I've had some people who have done great work in academia and have some good information. Mm-hmm. But the presentation just wasn't as engaging.
I understood.
And so you have the ability to teach us and get us to a level to where we're more keen around these things. And at some point, I would like to bring you back to maybe talk about our spending. Ooh. And really have the conversation about the notion of there's this belief that quick gratification versus long-term spending and whatnot. And Black America needs to have a real conversation about that. I'm sorry. Okay. And so I would love to have you talk about that. Shout out to Chris Haynes, who's in as well and listening and fitness, farming family. We got some good folks that are paying attention to this. And so I want to ask you one other thing is, oh God, it's 9:40. Hold on for 1 second, please.
It's okay.
So there's this thing where Alexa goes off at 9:45 to remind me to do stuff. And I beat her today. Okay. So for all of y'all that likes to hear Alexa in the background, I was before her today. It's 9:44 already. So this is definitely some good. Oh God, Nariki said definitely bring her back. Nariki, you need to bring her up and have her talk to some of the pastors up here so they can talk about tithing and investments for the church.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I do actually have some ideas about that, but
give us another one of those 30-second synopsises.
Yeah, I think it's really important that churches start to have wealth seminars. Like if you don't already have folks coming to do presentations on how to buy a home, if you don't already have folks trying to do investment accounts, how to start an LLC, those kinds to start your business, that ground level work, I really think can be done really well in the church. Especially because we're already in a habit of trying to give money. I think it's important that we understand how to steward money, not just give it. So I'm really, I'm encouraged. Hopefully this gets out to the right people. But I can see that being really, really important, especially at these mega churches. I mean, regardless of all the glitz and the glam, you're getting a lot of people in a space and a lot of people that are
hold on. Back up. Say that again. Hold on.
Okay. Especially folks who are at mega churches, I really, really think if you're able to get the crowd in, especially a local community, it's really important that we start using our marketing efforts to start to educate our people on the ground so that we can be better than when we left.
And I agree with Tashad, and I hear your point of the mega because there's a level of influence both in getting information out and a level of influence with the money. Yeah. And so, but Tashad's point around all the churches, because the financial education piece, especially in wellness education, because it's so interesting. I think the older I get, my lens is changing around the two notions of limited opportunity and pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. I'm going to be very transparent. It's again, I think you're helping me in real time.
It's okay. That's what this is for.
You're not going to sit up here and give me that therapist voice like me.
It's okay. I'm being gentle is the point.
I'm realizing that it's really my resilience that has caused me to be able to even be in a position and look back and to really consider sort of we say it often, if I did it, they can do it. And I understand, again, the spirit of that versus the letter, but everybody's doing it. As you said before, it's sort of an individual situation is different, but to the point of the financial education and wellness, Heidi Ivy is in the room and moves in finances. She said, okay, great. Let's talk. So if Heidi was here right now, it would be very interesting. But we need to have that conversation because there was a meme I saw the other day, and it wasn't just about Black folks, but it talked about 3 billionaires that at one point they were in, their value was at like 20 million, and like they said 2024, 2 million. It was 3 of them that were like up there in like the 20s, 50s, and something millions. It's something somewhere in that range, and they didn't have the right advisors around them. They didn't invest. You said it, and I'll shut up. We are not good stewards of our money.
Sometimes.
And that is, especially with, things coming, inflation, all that other stuff out of still, and I'm saying it often, we haven't seen the full impact of COVID. You know what I mean? In finance, do you have any information? What's the forecast? Because I know you know.
In terms of what in particular?
In terms of where inflation is, with this ambiguity around the election, and just sort of a prospectus on maybe where we are as Black America, and with a lot of, in some cases, perceived progression, but there's some real strides being made. Where are we, and where do you see us maybe in? And I'll leave it small. In 2 years, there's Jalen, who's making this Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics, who's making the move around the different exchange and investing in Black entrepreneurs. There's that movement. So there are things being done. Where are we, and where do you see us in the next 2 years as Black America from a financial standpoint?
That's a big question. And I'll answer two things in one, right? Because you also asked me about the data. I think from my research, where we started, I think it was over a 46% gap between what Black people experience in terms of trying to build wealth and what white people experience when trying to build their wealth. That our climb is 46% harder. Is what I found. Do I think that's going to get easier? No, and for a couple reasons. One is because technology is definitely going to have a huge impact on the way we operate, on the way we work, on the way on our social lives, on how we experience life. And I don't think that our communities are prepared for that yet. And not because they have to get prepared themselves, right? There's infrastructure that has to be put in place in order for our communities to be able to operate the way everyone else's does, right? Including access to Wi-Fi. Which is one of the policies that I definitely am advocating for, is that this access to broadband. There have been community organizations who have tried to facilitate their own broadband services and have tried to alleviate stress in that way. But these larger broadband companies definitely are crushing the smaller organizations. And so financially, we do have an uphill battle when it comes to some of these larger policies, especially around technology and access to the internet, considering where we're headed as a community.
May I ask another question? I'm sorry. AI, pull AI into that equation as well.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I'm seeing is that there are a lot of folks who are using ChatGPT, right? But we're not necessarily learning how to master it. I do think that it's important that if you don't know already, if you haven't, start to look at prompt groups, ChatGPT prompt groups on Facebook, on Reddit, on Threads, wherever you can find them. And if you are like a little bit tech savvy, some of you are on Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp. So these third party sort of texting applications where they have groups of folks who are talking about prompts, how to get the most out of ChatGPT, right? Which is this product that allows you to ask it questions, and it pretty much gives you any kind of answer. It will answer pretty much anything that you ask it. And right now it's I believe at a high school level, and it's projected, and I believe it recently passed the bar, if I'm not mistaken. So the trajectory of this AI is definitely getting more and more and more and more and more and more impactful. And we as a people need to be more and more and more and more and more and more situated around educating ourselves around it so that we can use it to our best capacity. I think a lot of folks are starting to do that in the investment space. I do see Black people, the increase, there's a huge increase, over a 20% increase in Black people who are buying stocks and invested in the stock market. So we do see an increase there. If you've heard of Earn Your Leisure, they will say that they have a little bit of hand in that as well. If you know, like the Wall Street Choppers of the world, you know, these people who have been really heavily invested in trying to encourage investing in stocks, which is known to be one of the fastest way to wealth for Black people, because it does not look at your skin color, right? You can invest in a stock as long as you have the money to get in. You can pay, you can play. So there's a little bit of a gateway there, and that's been one of the areas that has been least invested in the past that I see has continued to be heavily involved and invested in the most recent future. So I do see stocks being heavily involved there. I do see the crypto space being a space where Black people.
I'm just getting ready to ask about that. I texted my boy that, and during the DNC, I've seen a different caliber of an attempt to engage Black and brown people. Blockchain.
Yeah, blockchain
is. Yeah, and so can I ask, is that you? This is part of the financial prospectus and outlook that you're giving. A lot of us, some of us do, some of us don't. And I also want to give balance to some of the church folks in here. I know of one particular mega church here that this dude, that's my brother, this pastor, there are entrepreneur classes, there's financial management classes. So the balance of folks are just naming, my church does it, my church does. But generally speaking, these can definitely, do better. But Jubilee sets a great example. My former pastor, New Life, had a CDC. The priority was giving back. So while we're speaking about balance, some of us, Black folks, Earn Your Leisure, others aware, promoting things in the Bitcoin, and I don't know if Bitcoin is in the what's the proper term, the overall term,
space or Web3
currency space. Is it safe? Because that I think that is the foundation of me. That is the foundation of a lot of my hesitation. I'm not like you said. I love as educated as you are and as aware and as much data that you had. You were intentional earlier about saying you don't aim to speak for all Black people. And that's why I pulled back and I said my foundation is like, I'm 52, so I'm on. But I embrace it. I'm like, what? A coin? But what? Talk to us a little bit about the what's the term you used again? What's the name of it? Digital
blockchain technology. Basically, blockchain is just a secure way to it's a encrypted and secure way for you to be able to transfer. Like it's a network. Just think of it that way. It's a network. So the way that you're able to swipe your credit card and pay for things with cryptocurrency, you won't need a credit card. You know how we're already tapping? You'll be able to just press a few buttons and send, like Cash App. Like that's the experience that
they have to be in the crypto
exactly
world.
The impetus of it is the fact that it's backed by a technology that is secure. So when you ask, is it safe? Yes, it's as safe as a dollar bill. Like if someone wanted to steal your crypto money, right, they would have to have access to your wallet, right? They would have to have access to your security keys and features. And you could also lose your money if you forgot your security key and your feature, right? So folks have lost money in the past just because they've misplaced where their keys are, right? And because these keys are really important. And these keys are a series of numbers and letters that allow you to get access into your virtual wallet. That's essentially what it is, in a nutshell, to keep it simple.
You got passwords and security now.
Yeah, right. And I think what it does, I think the importance of this technology is that it makes it so that the people who are handling it have less hands over it. But I think what we're seeing is that while folks were spewing fear on the TV and on CSNBC and on MSNBC about, staying away from crypto and how it's dangerous it is, they were investing in it.
We weren't, and particularly we were investing
because they were telling us we should stay away from it, right? But they were investing in it. Right. And I think the one worry that I would have about crypto in the future is just the balance of power in terms of who owns it. Right. So whoever owns majority of the coins controls the market. Right. Essentially, the same way it would be if you like in a regular economic market, like whoever has the most money in the pot kind of controls the game a little bit. And the Bitcoin supply is limited. Right. And so it's not going to be open for everyone to have it. That's what holds its value, allows it to keep its value. But majority of the people who own it have a lot of money. So there's still a little bit of a similarity towards the system that we're currently in that those who have a lot of money make a lot of the decision and kind of sway the market a little bit. But does it allow us to kind of build wealth in the future? Does it give us a gateway toward what the future is going to be? Absolutely. Should you invest in it? If you can responsibly, absolutely. I strictly only invest in BTC and Ethereum and Bitcoin, which is ETC and BTC, just to keep it simple. We're not doing anything else. There's no point in spewing fear or anything of that sort. But I think not knowing about it and not being aware of it doesn't necessarily help us either. I know folks who are running complete businesses on cryptocurrency. And so I don't think we're in a space where this is something we should run away from. This is definitely something that's going to be a part of us for the near future.
Okay. And I get a lot of ideas in real time, but this one, if someone can remind me, Mr. Reese or whatnot, but I want to have a sidebar conversation with you about maybe once a month doing some sort of maybe financial check-in.
Yeah, we can do that
with our community and really be intentional about a couple of minutes. Let's do it. And really be intentional about talking about this, as a part of our monthly check-in, because this young man right here, he's been getting on me a little bit about just, looking at it, not being as scared and whatnot. And so as soon as I found out that we were going there, thank you, Miss Teresa. As soon as I found out that we were going there, I was like, you need to hop back on real quick because,
well, there are a bunch of other folks, right, that have been working on this for a long time that I can connect you to that can give an even more in-depth understanding. But I do think that that's the bridge that I'm trying to get us to, right? Being able to move get off of that high level academic stuff, but it's really important, right? There are some nuts and nuggets in there that we need to kind of move forward, but also bring it from like the ground up level, and for us to be able to meet in the middle and understand kind of like how are we operating, right? Because our community, when we talk about community development, that involves whether or not you get a ticket for jaywalking, whether or not you get a parking ticket, whether or not you Chick-fil-A is moving into your neighborhood, whether or not they're allowing a Starbucks or a Whole Foods to move in, right? These are the people that are making decisions that are based on our everyday experiences. And I just feel like this space really needs a lot more love and attention, considering how impactful it's going to be for us moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. And I oh God, I don't know what you do on a Friday, but maybe we do something about Financial Fridays or something like that to really be intentional about, God, they're on here going in. See what you did.
It's all right. That's good.
Elon is trash. One question. What's Solana? Are you familiar with that?
I do not know what Solana is. So y'all educating me. So I'm gonna do my research and come back to you next time with some more juice. But I do not know what Solana is.
Okay, well, we're going to take you up on that. But maybe one Friday in September we can start this and look at maybe the week of the 16th if you're free. And we'll get you connected with. Well, you're already connected with the team, but I'll ask them to reach out to see if that works for you, because we often say that mental health is a part of overall health. And I'm curious to see if you did any social determinants of health in your, it had to be a part.
Yes. I actually was so excited when racism was considered to be a public health concern. Mm-hmm.
We were one of the first cities.
Right after I graduated, I was like, y'all crazy. I was fighting for this.
Listen, we were one of the first cities in the country, thanks to former city councilor Ricardo Arroyo, that the city of Boston City Council declared racism as a social health, public health crisis was the actual determination. And I know you probably noticed SOL is a cryptocurrency. And so that definitely is going. I know you're going to dig now.
I stick to the two main ones. It's almost, just think of it as like when you're investing in like really young companies, right? Like before, DoorDash became a company that was in its infancy stages. You never know who's actually going to make it. So I stick to the two big dogs until we understand, until that shakes out a little bit and we know who our top companies will be.
I think that's the balance of someone like me who's just like, I ain't messing with that, to someone who's knowledgeable. And then you got to find a medium.
You got to find. I'm okay with a little risk, but
but sometimes the risk outweigh the benefits.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So that piece of coming at it, as you said, as we get ready to wrap up, from academia and then the grassroots, one of the symbols, the logo for my consultant firm, Effective Strategies, the Latin word for impact, is a pyramid. And the acronym is ASI. So there's A, an S, and then the I. And the way it looks is the S looks like cups on the I column. And so it's constantly looking like the cups of taking from the bottom of the pyramid to the top, from the top. When I looked at that thing one day, I said, oh, Jesus, I got something here. But that is, and it's, again, thank you, because that was one of the missions when I looked at the design of Affect Us strategies, is financial health. To my point I was getting ready to make a few minutes ago, we talk about mental health being a part of overall health, but our financial health is a part. Some people may not agree, but our financial health is a part. It contributes to our overall health. If we're stressed, we don't have the money, the basics of not being able to pay for. All right, you done got me to hold it. Two things that lets me know there's a good interview. I be tired, and then I get past 10. It's 10:03. So this was good, and we probably only did about 2 of the actual briefing questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back. I'm gonna have to come back.
Really good, and I think a lot of people walked away with knowledge, but also this thing of social construction. Anybody that talks about finances, crypto, real estate, data from this point forward that watch today, they're now going to help reconstruct society based off this conversation. Any conversation that you and I have with the next person,
Right.
What was contributed here today influences what we do.
Absolutely, which is why I'm glad to be here. Hey, had to come and tap in with you.
Oh my God, I like you, Dr. McNeese. Where can folks follow you on? Well, actually, no. Hold on, you're right here. You chimed in on, you jumped in on the phone, so I can tell folks right now how to follow you. Y'all, a lot of y'all came in here on Instagram today. Hold on. Where'd you go? Okay, well, just go ahead. Tell the folks what your Instagram is.
Dr._McNeese, DrMcNeese.
Can you type it in the private chat and I'll just cut and paste it?
No worries. And then you are, in terms of real estate, Homes by Jazmyne.
Put it all in there.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
We didn't even get into it. I definitely thank Obi for tagging some of the folks that I mentioned, particularly Alex Edwards, because I know if the two of y'all hooked up, he and his wife are doing some great work around real estate. Them and their team are posting closed sales like every day. They're building properties and Google mortgage before marriage.
Got it.
You're gonna love them.
Actually, I think I already followed them. Okay. That sounds so familiar.
Alex and Joanna, they are doing it. So, folks, from the real estate perspective, you can go to Instagram. Oh, hold on. Let me fix that. From the real estate perspective, you can go and follow Homes by Jazmyne. And for her personal in the work or the academic space or things that she's doing, you can also go follow her or go to the website at jazmynemcneese.com. And I'm going to put that right here as well. Asia is asking, this is the web. I put it in the wrong place, but y'all get the idea. This is the website. And Asia is asking, how can we support the doctor's work? Is there a donate button on your website?
No, I don't have a donate button on my website. Actually, I really appreciate you. Would you cash at me at my name?
Hey, we put the Cash App in there.
Yeah, okay. It's my first and last.
We've raised money here on Java with Jimmy. I think the most we've ever raised was, the most we ever raised was my first year anniversary.
So I appreciate it because, I appreciate it.
Okay. No. We're going to put that right there. All right. So if you want to support, and I tell you guys all the time, $5, $10, $20, they all add up. So if you want to support this sister, Asia, thank you for asking. If you want to support this sister and her work with unrestricted funds, ain't none of your business. Just make the donation and help the sister out. Asia, thank you for asking, because we don't mind doing that in this space. And so, Dr. McNeese.
And if anybody's going to be at InvestFest, I'll be there to meet people. However I can be, of support and to connect with you all, just feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. I'm definitely looking forward to connect with folks. So
you just reminded me today that I have a meeting with Pinky's chief of staff.
You better go ahead. That's a story. Ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Yes, that's a soror. So send her my best.
It's not with her. It's with her chief of staff. With that now, that's the next step.
But
she is truly a prime example.
American Sex is literally like she's modeling everything for us. And if you're not watching or paying attention to Pinky Cole, you need to be, because she's modeling it in real time.
I got to meet her a couple of years ago. I didn't know it was her. So I walked outside and I was like, hey, are you Pinky Cole? She was like, no, but I get that all the time. So and if you got a sense of her, if you know her, she took me on this whole journey, setting me up to maybe say something negative, all love. At the end, I was like, when she finally said, she was like, I am Pinky. When I tell you, I almost passed out. And then I was like, well, you're in Boston. If you like And so we connected and whatnot. And, her team, a few transitions or whatever. But when you mentioned InvestFest, I just thought about her. And then American Sesh is the other thing she does.
Sunday. Yep.
I'm getting one of those soon.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to see you there. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Look, every Friday of the month, you're gonna be like, so
when that application come out, I'm like, Jimmy, did you apply?
I'm gonna have to sacrifice one of these beach trips to Miami and invest.
It'll be worth it for sure.
Yes, ma'am. I believe it. Dr. McNeese, you are as tired as I am in a good way. You are definitely refreshing in knowing that it is so. I say often that in the public health space around vaccinations and research and medicine, knowing that there are Black and brown people now in these spaces and that are pushing and doing what you're doing, it's good to know that we have folks like you in the academic, real estate, wealth space, and real estate is included in that. And so I appreciate you and all that you're doing. You be encouraged, folks. Don't forget, if you want to support this sister, there's her Cash App there. Take a screenshot. Actually, let me put it in the comments in case you guys want to cut and paste it. And so you can cut and paste it right there in the comments. OB, who's a business owner, a popular photographer here in the city, for adult media and overall marketing support. Tap in with Hallie Smith, by the way. She's the best help I've had improving the Corner 45. And so Hallie Smith, OB, thank you for that information. All right, y'all, this is it. You UCB members, y'all get 90 minutes today for your, so local organization up here gives the viewers points. They consider this community engagement. And so they get points to get a gift card for community engagement. So they you know, once it passed 10 o'clock, they get 90 minutes. And so y'all get 90 minutes today. But Dr. McNeese, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for all that you do.
Absolutely.
Y'all, Mother's Board, add her to the prayer list because this powerful, knowledgeable woman needs to be covered. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you.
See you later.
Y'all, if you aren't challenged to do better in your finances, I don't know what it's going to take, because that sister there, oh boy. So we are going to try to have her in once a month, Miss Teresa. I think I'll be good, because this is hugely important. Uncle Thaddeus is in the room on Instagram, y'all. A few folks have reached out, and I know y'all miss him. Speaking of him, I want to remind you all that the Black Joy event is coming up on September 12th at the Institute for Contemporary Art. We've been with him since 2020, Uncle Thaddeus, 1920. So it's on September 12th. So keep that in mind. Miss Teresa, we got to connect. Uncle Thaddeus, we got something for you. All right. We're going to get ready to go, everyone. Excuse me. Tomorrow morning, we are speaking with Jake Small, who is an author, and also he was one of the TEDx Roxbury speakers. We're going to talk about his book and his work in the space with young people in education. He's the author of For Every Black Boy. Speaking For Every Black Boy, I wanted to remind you or let you know, because I don't think I've mentioned it before, I am speaking at the Black Boy Joy Summit that is taking place. Hold on, y'all. The Black Boy Joy Summit, that's a mouthful, is taking place. Come on. It's taking place on October 5th, which is Saturday, I believe. And so that's coming up as well. So I think that's it for me this morning. Thank you to everyone that tuned in to Boston Public Market yesterday. Thank you to Mom, Miss Teresa, Real Boston Media, and others that text me and said, hey, your mic's not on. It happens 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year. But at least it wasn't the whole interview. So that's it for announcements. Don't forget, September 16th, we are moving to 10 a.m. Somebody type 10 a.m. in those comments. September 16th, Java with Jimmy will open at 10 a.m. Last thing is, a few folks have reached out about what I'm doing for my birthday, which is actually 3 weeks from Sunday. I really don't know yet. Part of me wants to hop on a plane. Part of me wants to just check in somewhere and chill. Part of me wants to spend it with a couple of my closest brothers. And so I'm figuring it out. If I decide to do something public or whatever, I'll let you guys know. But September 7th, it dropped yesterday. But I am one of the MCs for the New Edition homemade concert on City Hall Plaza on September 7th. September 8th, Brother Neil and them, Verbal Fabric is having their event. Told me about the concept, said I would support and I would be there. And then he told me the date. And I was like, so yeah, I'll be in community for my birthday. But if we do something, you know, at a club or something, we'll let you guys know. Not the daytime event for the Mother's Board and stuff like we did celebrating 50. This is 53, not major. All but 55. We're going to turn up. All right, I'm rambling. I'm gone. I will see you guys tomorrow, 9:16. I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Miss Teresa, thank you. Naraki, thank you. Oh, God. No, Miss Teresa, y'all ain't slick. Can you touch on the Obamas last night? I did in the beginning. No, listen. They, along with the energy that Kamala brought into being now the nominee, the Obamas are really the first family of the Democratic Party right now. You know, and let me also say something else. I heard a reporter today trying to insinuate this wedge between Michelle Obama and President Biden and the Biden. Stop it. Oh, anyway, speaking of trolls, I shared I don't usually engage with trolls, but yesterday with the energy in the room, I said something about, I posted a picture of the the mass delegation nominating Kamala Harris. Side note, whoever picked the Dropkick Murphys, and someone commented with this negative picture of our Congresswoman. I can engage just once or twice a year. He called a bucktooth or something, and I simply said, your mama. And so I posted it on Facebook, and some people just only saw the picture and they were like, Jimmy? No, click the bottom. And it was just, I was being petty last night. I haven't felt like, I was like, I want to run for office. No, I don't. That dissipated almost as soon as the thought entered, right out the window. It was just amazing. The thing is that we have to keep in mind, and Obama said it like he did, I think it was in 08 or 12. Don't boo. Vote. Joyce Linehan, former staffer to chief of policy for former Mayor Marty Walsh, put up a post and said, Alex, I hope you were able to catch some of her. Folks, this was the young man that I was mentioning to our guest today, Mortgage Before Marriage. And Alex has been in the space before, but they're doing some great work. And I heard, you know, all of her work around real estate. So, Alex, I thought about you and had to make sure you were aware of her. Y'all need to connect, bro. She's fire. She got that data, academic research behind a lot of the stuff that you be talking about. Listen. And Asia, you got you. That is one thing that just we don't play about Ayanna at all. So, all right, I'm getting off of here. Y'all got y'all 90 minutes, and we're out of here. You are entitled to at least a few drops in the petty jar. And that was it. I ain't said your mama since I don't know. I was in elementary school. All right, I'm going, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Don't forget September 16th. September 19th. Let me just give some clarity here. You'll find out more on September 11th, but I am going into what I consider a major partnership with a long-standing local nonprofit here in the city of Boston. And a lot of our partnership is to ensure that you all are aware that it's cuffing season. Well, it's not cuffing season yet, but cuffing season officially, I'm establishing, is going to start on Wednesday, September 11th. And so on Wednesday, September 11th at 9 a.m., the partner that I'm partnering with will be with us. And then on September 19th, we are going to have the launch party of a campaign. That event is specifically geared toward folks ages 21 to 45. All right. There will be a registration and sign up list. This is not a regular Java with Jimmy event. So just be mindful of that if you don't fall in that age range. Yes, we're being very specific about this partnership with that population that is dealing with rising rates of STIs, rising rates of HIV, rising rates of unwanted pregnancy. It's cuffing season, but we want to make sure that you cuff safely. So that's it for announcements. September 12th, September 12th, Black Joy Day, October 5th, Black Boy Joy Summit. All right. Y'all have a wonderful day. And we'll see you tomorrow at, love you too, Ma. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.